So, Andrew, how long have you been with Quo?
Well, I'm a new boy, really. I think it's about 28, 29 years. 29 years? 76.
It's a good year.
Yeah, it was. It was a great year. It's a great year. My daughter was born, and I got a call to do some work when I was really skint at the time, which was it was good.
He's always had a very strong image, Andrew, particularly in the early days. I mean, I used to love him when he was with the Herd, and he had that barnet that used to sort of curl round the front, and he was a very charismatic-looking chap.
First time I met Andrew, we supported the Herd somewhere in Tottenham Court Road. First time I'd ever seen a roadie or knew what they were. In fact, we thought this guy was one of the Herd, and he was one of their roadies. And a week later, I saw him on the motorway at the Blue Boar. And he tells this great story. He was in a queue with the Herd, you know, we're chatting away. And he said that they got to the end of the trade area, and Peter said to him, "Can you lend me some money? I've got no money." He said, "Well, we just got paid yesterday." He said, "Yeah, but it's the part I'm saving." I thought it was a great line. Pay for me, I'm saving.
We'd done gigs together over the years in the teeny bop days. So we sort of knew each other, and they wanted a pianist, so because they didn't know any others, they called me. True.
I asked him to do some session work, but I don't know how I did that. But I was making records of various people and production things, and I used to get Andrew in to do some Hammondy stuff, because we would talk through the part, and I used to enjoy working out the part, how we would create this part of, I don't mean to sound hey, but how we'd work out and get this part to this track that we're doing. I really enjoyed working with Andrew like that. And he did some stuff with us, and I always wanted him in the band. I always wanted that keyboard, because I was aware then that the keyboard would be the way that you can, because before the real synths came about, it meant to me that you could add anything to this Status Quo sound, and it could be done by the keyboard.
I've never been a synth player, really. I don't understand them, and I don't particularly like the sound, and neither do any of us, really, except for very small parts. But I was quite a good organist, and that was a sort of a dying thing. So we lean heavily on organ and piano as opposed to synthesizers, and I think people like the organ. Old rockers like the organ, the Hammond organ.
He's a real Hammond wizard. And I mean, I don't know whether you've ever looked at a Hammond, but when you first see it, it's like climbing on the flight deck of Concorde, because you wouldn't know where to start. It's a massive switches and buttons and drawbars and pedals and all sorts, and he is just a master of the Hammond.
There is no sound like it. It's actually medieval electronics, and it's valves and loads of wires and stuff. It's really old-fashioned tone wheels, turning tone wheels, and it's completely out of date, as is the Leslie cabinet that goes through the spinning rotor thing. There's two horns at the top. There's a big speaker going down, two horns which go round, and only one of them the sound comes out of. The other one is the cheapest way of balancing it, so it goes wah 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 wah. It's called a Doppler effect, and nothing else sounds like it. And quite a few of us, I think, grew up wanting to be Jimmy Smith, or at least the person who was qualified to polish Jimmy Smith's shoes.
He's got his own style of playing. I mean, when he plays rhythm guitar sometimes, it's almost like playing with Chuck Berry. He's got this really quirky feel about him.
He's more level, I would say, the level one in the band. Yeah, he's great to get along with.
Well, as you know, Andrew's a really good songwriter. I mean, he's written whatever you want, and quite a few, Burning Bridges, quite a few of our classic songs.
I was renting Peter Frampton's house from him, or rather his wife, in a little soundproof room at the top of the house. It's about 6 foot by 8 foot. And I had a Revox recorder, and I just bought a Les Paul Deluxe from Alan Lancaster. And I thought, right, I'm going to write something really, 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 really simple. Really simple. And about 40 minutes later, I had this on a Revox, and I rushed downstairs and said to my wife, I think I've done it. I really think I might have done it this time. And I played it to her, and she said, I think you've done it. Very exciting. I mean, then we recorded it, and everybody liked it, and it's been a good song. Good for me, good for the band, good for everybody.
He brings an awful lot to the band. I mean, he's a good songwriter. He's a good vocalist. He's a great rock and roll piano player. He's a good guitarist. In fact, he's a total all-round Bacta, really. You know what I mean? And he's very cuttingly funny. He's very funny sometimes.
Andrew has introduced me to the grape over the years. That's why I'm now called Rhino the Wino.
There would be a void if he wasn't here, you know, not only in the sound, but in the general humour of the band. So he's an all-round good egg, really.
Whatever you want, whatever you like, whatever you say, you play, you take your choice. Whatever you need, whatever you use, whatever you win, whatever you do.
I've been with Quo officially since the end of 1985. I'd met Rick before then. I did a solo album with him, and he persuaded Francis to try me and the then drummer, and we started rehearsing, and I was like that. I'd never done anything so loud in my life, and they were saying I was cool. That was nice and quiet, wasn't it? You know, made a change, and I mean, I was really
Seriously going deaf, lovely bloke. He's a lovely, that's why he's been with us so lovely bloke.
I was trying to be a session musician at the time, not really, only doing a little project. And they said to me, do you fancy doing a few gigs? I said, well, really, how much is it? I'll do it. And I've sort of never looked back since then, really. Yeah, that's April '86, I think I did my first gig.
He's really brilliant for us. He's a very keen player, and when I first saw him play, it was like, whoa, that's serious, which encouraged me to practice a lot more and lift my game, as we say these days. And I found him inspiring like that, and I liked the way he looked, the way he dressed. Not so keen now as he's fallen apart, isn't he? We were sat in a dressing room somewhere in England a couple of years ago, and it's that time like tonight. It's like what's up? It's about 6 o'clock, a bit later than this. It goes quiet and everyone's sitting there, and he's sitting in this little dressing room. He's reading. He's got a cotton bud in his ear, and he's going. And he left it in there, and he's reading away, and he suddenly went like that. He forgot it's there, so his ear was itchy, so he went like that and pushed it into his...
He's the clumsy one in the band, as we say, but he's a great bass player, and joy to work with.
If things just go wrong around, they break. But he's a lovely man, he really is a lovely bloke. Desperate to be a good father, and I had discussions with him about what's a good father then. We said, well, you know, a decent set of morals. I said, whose morals? The morals of the Middle East or our morals? Or you mean the morals of a redneck American or the morals of what? He said, well, you're just good morals. I said, which ones are those? And what's a good father? I'm sure there are many people who see John as a really dodgy father, and some other people see him as a great father, so I think he's always beating himself up about that, whether he's done the right thing.
But then when they asked me to actually play, I thought it would be really easy. And it wasn't. It was... I got on stage, the first gig, so much harder than I thought.
A brilliant musician, very, very keen. Always, you know, yeah, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, let's do more, let's do longer, let's do better. So he's perfect, really. Both Rick and I love him to death.